Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Poduska, and welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. I am so excited that you're here and you are in for 30 minutes of action and content value-filled programming with industry leaders such as Christine that's here with us today who are growing their business, making a difference in the world, and rocking their brand. So I'm so excited to have Christine, is it Beauvais, do you say?
Yes, Beauvais.
Christine Beauvais is a Feng Shui expert, speaker, and author. Christine teaches busy career women how to simplify their lifestyle from their work, home, wardrobe, and diet. She uses Feng Shui to create a mindset for success while also helping clients organize and beautify their space, and I can attest to that from my office, to create an image that reflects their personal style. And she has the ability to see beyond clients' words and help them look deeper to begin true healing. Christine is also the co-author of Balance for Busy Moms, a stress-free guide to tranquility, which I can certainly use, in which she teaches moms how to manage and maintain organization in their homes without losing themselves. And she's also the co-creator of the Glamour Plus Metal. Is that how you say it? Glamour and Metal? Glamour and Metal. Glamour Plus Metal, a documentary on personal branding. So I guess everybody, if you want to know about personal branding, you're definitely in the right place. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
So, Christine, for people who are not familiar with Feng Shui, which is spelled Fengsshui.
Yes.
Yes. Can you, and I wasn't, if it was IU or UI. Can you give a brief description of what Feng Shui is so people have an understanding who don't know?
Sure. So how I explain it is the understanding of how your space reflects what's going on in your life. Mm-hmm. And so when you are choosing a home or you're renting a space or an office, the way you decorate it represents a lot about who you are and where you are in your life. And sometimes when we're out of balance, we could take a look at our home and to see why maybe we have clutter or why we're not decorating a room or why maybe we have a business and we're not getting clients because of the way we're situated in the office building. So the environment that we sit in for 8 hours or we're sleeping for 8 hours, really impacts us, and it's either uplifting us or draining our energy. So Feng Shui really just allows us to look at our life from a different perspective and look at our behaviors in our environments to really show us maybe where we're not aligned with who we really are or aligned with what we're trying to achieve in our life. And Feng Shui really helps us to get clarity on that.
Can you say a little bit more about that alignment? Because as you know, in personal branding, in any branding, it's really about alignment. It's about aligning the outer with the inner and the decision about how you want to project the inner into the outer. And so talk to me a little bit about that alignment and how Feng Shui helps you find it, how it helps you find the alignment. Because I know that Feng Shui can help you once you've decided something, the way that I understand it, once you've decided something, then Feng Shui can help you bring that into your life. But I understood from what you were just saying that it can work the other way too, that sometimes using Feng Shui to help you understand how you want to align yourself also works. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Because if you're saying to me as a brand, as a business owner, that, business isn't going right, and you're telling me that you want to be this luxury business, but yet I'm in your space and the space doesn't feel luxurious. The style of it is not luxury. Let's say it's more countrified. Well, that's different energy than something that's more refined and elegant. So let's take a look at Tory Burch. Tori Birch is a designer and has gorgeous stores all over US and even internationally. Now, I just read an article on her and I did a video. And the reason why I'm so excited about her at the moment was I discovered that she used Feng Shui in her office in
Oh,
this
wow.
article that I was reading. And one of the things was when I saw this picture of her office, I immediately thought, Tori Birch is totally aligned. Her office was not some typical corporate America office. It was designed as if you were in her store. So it was elegant. It was refined. You could see the colors that I noticed that she uses a lot in her store were in her office. You could see the way the desk was set up. Everything had that alignment. So she's truly aligned with her brand. And she's very successful and she's building and building on top of that. You want to be able to really see that if you're saying, I want to be refined and elegant and a luxurious brand, well, does that environment of your office look like that? Does it have that refined elegance? Does it have the color schemes that you're using? Does it have that energy? This is my brand. This is who I am. So when it goes back to internally, I don't think we express ourselves the way we really want to be seen. And I think, especially when it comes to business, it takes us a little bit of time. Not everyone comes into business and has it all figured out right away, right?
I think very, very few people. I'd like to meet that. I'd like to meet that person and pick their brain.
I know it's taken me a couple of years, but as you are trying to achieve a certain brand, you want to make sure it's in alignment with you. So if it is, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel right. It's going to be a no-brainer. And that's when it comes to styling your space that you're just going to be like, yeah, this is how it's got to look. So I give that great example of Tori Birch because when I looked at her office and I looked at her brand, it was completely aligned.
Yeah. So you are making me think my red flowers are over here, but I've got to bring them into the picture.
Oh, pretty.
Because it's part of my brand. And also, I have to say that you helped me with my office and because I have, and I don't know if it's still right, but I have my power wall, my black power wall with when you walk in, the first thing you see is the flower.
Beautiful. I love that.
So it's and it looks like the sun, shape of the sun. So it's in the career bagua, right?
Yeah.
So Christine helped me with that. But one thing I would say is that when I painted my office, this wall is like a bluish black and the other walls are gray. And since I've painted my office, I should say it like this. When I painted my office, I was like, I'm going to be professional and, like what you were saying, glamorous and high end. And as I've evolved in my business and my brand, I've softened a lot in myself. And I like the word melted. I've melted into my brand more and I'm still elegant. I still like pretty things, but I'm finding that gray color is not what you were saying. I'm not as aligned with that anymore. I'm feeling that it needs to be softer and warmer because I've allowed more of those parts of who I am to come forward in my brand. So talk to me a little bit about that and your experience of the evolution of a person and a brand and using Feng Shui.
Absolutely. So we're always growing. We're always looking to actually find things that almost are, going to create contrast in our lives because when they do, then we get to see more of what we want. And the only way I'm going to figure out more about what I want is if I'm stepping up and putting myself out there more. And the more you get to explore and build your brand, your business, you get to think about things and you go, well, I don't really like this as much as I thought. I really like that. So I always say, are you on the path of least resistance? And your path is always turning and it's always got curves in it. But to be on that path means you're just okay with accepting, well, I am where I am. And now I'm deciding that I want to be over there. So what does that mean that has to change? So maybe the grays don't work for you anymore, which is fine. So maybe you want to bring in more earth tone colors. And, you know, that begins to shift another perspective. Now, when it comes to colors, there's always like a more watery color, a more earth tone color. The kind of, what's the word? The saturation of a color can really kind of change the energy of it. So, you know, sometimes you look at the trees and you have these dark green trees and then you have these lighter green trees. But that changes the energy of it. So, you know, if you still were saying to me, Christine, the gray doesn't feel the same, but I still kind of like gray, I would almost look at it and say, well, maybe there's other tones that we could look at that were a little bit warmer, like a warmer gray. Would that be possible? Or
that's a good point.
I might just say to you, well, then maybe let's just work with the accessories right now and bring in like the red I can see from your video. That's a really gorgeous color. Like, would that be more inviting? Would you like that more warmer red tone throughout the office?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Well, I have to say, one of the things that you said that I really liked was that you have to put yourself out there, and everything is information. And when you're in action, when you're out there and trying things, you are learning what you don't want too. And you don't know unless you try something. I always say that, what is it that I say? Decisions don't really come in your head. They come from doing.
Yeah.
You can think something, but until you have feedback, you're just sort of hypothesizing.
Yeah, you have to experience life. You can't live in a box. You can't try to run your business by just sitting behind the computer every day. You have to get out there and talk to people and interact and have, you know, the ability to hear what they want in order to change. And then, you know, sometimes you're going to paint an office or a home the wrong color and you're going to go, oh, well, now what do I do? It's paint. You can paint it another color. You might buy something. And I always kind of encourage people, when you buy, keep your receipts and just do the experiment of either 7 to 14 days of maybe, say you bought a piece of artwork and you weren't sure about it. Well, put it up on the table and let it sit there for the next couple of days to see what you feel about it. Because until sometimes you bring pieces home, until you know, now they have this really cool thing where you can actually buy these like swatches and you paste them up on the wall and they come down, but you can paint that color. You're never going to know until you somehow bring it into the home and test it out. And that's why I always say, well, test it out, but then, you know, make sure you bring it back, because sometimes people come home and then I got to deal with their clutter. So experiment with how your office is set up. You know, when I was younger, I still remember being a teenager, and sometimes I just shut the door because I was like, I'm ready to change the room around. And there I'd be by myself, and I had like a dresser and a bed and a desk, and I remember moving it, and I just remember then like my mom would be like, what's going on in there? And I'm like, nothing. Because I would always be moving my bedroom around like at least every maybe, I don't know, a couple of months. And it would feel different. You know, one time I had the bed on this side and the bed on that side. But until you move the furniture, until you move some items or change the color, you're not really going to know, you know, what feels right to you.
And you're talking about something, you've said this word like 3 or 4 times now, and that is the word feeling. And feeling is such an important part of branding. And your brand should make you feel awesome. It should feel like, you know, you're putting on, we used the word luxury before too, but a luxurious piece of clothing, like slipping into a Calgon bath or something. It should feel great to you. So talk to me a little bit about how Feng Shui can help you identify the way you want to feel in your brand. And there's another brander that I love, Michelle Gelati. I don't know if you know her, but she talks about how not just what you're exuding is as your brand, but how do you want to feel in your business as you're doing business? Do you want to feel laid back? Do you want to feel excited? Do you want to feel sensual? Do you want to feel powerful? So talk to me about how Feng Shui can help you really think about how, not just what you're putting out, but how you want to feel and manifest that in your business.
So when I talk about a room, one of the questions I'm going to say is, how do you want this room to feel? How do you want to feel when you're sitting here? How do you want to feel when you're at your desk? How do you want to feel when you need your creative energy? So, there's different things that are happening to us. And sometimes, I know for me, like I may sit in my office, which is like a collapsible desk that I have set up in my apartment, but sometimes I'm in the kitchen because that day I'm feeling different.
Oh, I love that.
The kitchen is actually darker in my home. In where my office is, it's the hottest room in the summertime because the sun's beaming in. So I don't spend a lot of time in the summer in there because I can't, it's just too hot. But when I want to be more energized, when I need more creativity, I'm sitting in the living room because it's brighter and the sun is shining. And when you have that more yang energy, it's going to motivate you to get more energized, more creative. But if I need to be more calmer, more ease, I need a feeling of calmness, I move to the kitchen because it's a little bit darker in there. I usually keep the lights off and I feel that I can work differently. So when you're working, you really want to think about, or if you have calls with clients, what's the feeling that you want? And then maybe you might have to move around your office or your room to capture that feeling. But you'll notice it because if a room is brighter and there's a lot of sunshine, that's going to be a more yang, high energy room. So if you need more energy, if you're someone who needs to get things going, you want to capture that feeling. You want to have a room that has more brighter colors. You want to have a room that has more windows. If you're looking for a feeling of more soothing and calming energy, then look for a room that is a little bit darker in the home, is a little bit cooling. Like might be your basement if you have a nice basement. But pay attention to how you feel when you enter a room. And then think about what is the feeling I want to capture right now that I need for my business.
I love what you're saying because I sometimes feel guilty if I don't use my office because I have a nice office space and I've read lots, and I think there are different philosophies about it, but that it helps, especially if you work from home, it helps create boundaries between your family life and your business. But I do work in the lower level of my home and I obviously have a black wall in my office, which can be pretty dark, especially in the winter time. And what you're saying is I can go to a different room in my house to change my energy, and that's okay if I want to do that. Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. That's great advice.
Sometimes as the seasons change, the energy of the home will change. So you might realize that you don't want to be in the office, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just might want to be upstairs because of the way the sun has moved and shifted, and you might be in tune to picking up that energy. And that's okay.
That's cool. So when I read your bio, you help with lifestyle, with diet, with fashion. I love the fashion part, and also entrepreneurs. So how did you sort of carve out those niches? I mean, what was your journey of figuring out, okay, this is really my brand and this is how I want to niche myself? And then the follow-up is then how did that change your business once you sort of figured out those niches?
Well, if there's one woman that I'm probably excited to be around is other entrepreneurs. And I think just because of my journey of trying to find where I wanted to be in my world. And so I always found myself just wanting to help them because I graduated with a speech degree. And then I was a teacher for a year. And then I was in the corporate world for 6 years. So I also have a passion for the corporate girl who doesn't want to be there because I was there and, got myself out of there. And so the reason why I started to really focus on entrepreneurs and corporate women was I saw so many women wanting to be successful, but what holds them back is the overwhelm of their home, the overwhelm of trying to have their house together, trying to put their wardrobe together, and then, things like clutter, organization, and then it slows down their success. And maybe their family's not supportive of where they want to go, and they're not backing them up. And I know that journey. So I started to see and started to talk to more women about if your space was organized, if you had your office together, if you had your wardrobe together, if you had, this peace of mind, would you work better? And they started to connect to this, and I started to build on helping this particular area of women, and they started to see shifts because they knew that, going back to what we were talking about in the beginning, was the branding, was you're going to, if there's the best self-help program, that's starting your own business, right? I'm sure you.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
You learn a lot about yourself, and you've got to go out there and make these mistakes. But if you don't have an environment to sit in, to be in, that supports you and grounds you and nurtures you, then your success is going to be a rough road, because everyone's going to tell you, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And you have to turn off the world. So I started to realize the environment, but I also had another piece, was showing women that you can have luxury, but what happens sometimes is women look at luxury and they go, well, that's not the kind of luxury I want. And right now I'm in the process of developing 3 types of understanding: success and luxury and the lifestyle you want. But it's going to be the girl who's very refined, like maybe like a Tory Burch, but then you got somebody like Jessica Alba, where she's a little more artsy, right? She's very successful, but her refined look is a little bit different than Tory Burch. You could see 2 different things. So I'm starting to explore a successful woman who really wants a luxury lifestyle, but it's different styles, different kind of categories in that piece. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Because it totally makes sense. What makes you happy? When I was in college, I'll just answer it with a story. When I was in college, I'm an opera singer, and that's what and when I was in college, one of my roommates, and we were talking about what would you do if you had, $1 million and you could do anything you want, which seemed like, all the money in the world at the time. And one of my college roommates, she said something like, I'd go water skiing. And I was like, you mean you wouldn't go to the opera? And she's like, no. And I just could not wrap my brain around the fact that she wouldn't go, like, if you had all the money in the world, that you wouldn't go to the opera. And, now I don't know if I would go to the opera if I had to do that all the time. But that everybody has their own version of what makes them feel good. And, you might be somebody who likes going skiing in the mountains in Aspen, or you might be someone who likes drinking champagne in Paris. So whatever your version of luxury is, I totally get that. And that's part of branding, right? Of understanding who you are, what makes you feel good, how you want to express that, what you want to surround yourself with to support that, right?
Yeah.
And so how did your business change when you identified that, when you stepped into, I'm going to be myself, and I'm really drawn to helping, because I love that you used your experience and your story to find your niche and serve, because you had this empathy for them. So how did that change your business when you did that, when you really nailed that niche?
I've started to become calmer and more relaxed, in the sense that now I know, it was interesting. I was kind of faced with the decision the other day about an opportunity that came to me. And I had just been to a course that weekend, and the course had talked about our values. And when I looked at my values, were like beauty, simplicity, elegance, I just realized that the opportunity that was being asked of me did not fit those values. And I made the decision quicker. But I also made the decision because I was confident and clear of who I was, instead of, I really should do this because this is such a nice person, and I should do this, because as a woman thing, we want to be liked, But I was doing it as a business. This is business, and I know my business, and the audience for this particular opportunity was not my ideal client. So I can make quicker decisions.
That's great.
Then I didn't dwell, because I know we all kind of dwell and stuff.
Yeah.
I just got out of it like that.
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me.
That's great. And, one of the things that I take people through when we do their personal branding is, what are your top 5 values? Yeah. Because I always talk about branding is, it's not a point, it's a direction. And, when you brand, it's a snapshot on a line that's moving. And it's like an arrow, and the very tip of that arrow is your values, because it directs your path then. It's like the very tip of the brand, because if you're not in alignment with your values, you're not going to make decisions that make you happy.
Yeah. And then you're going to spend money the wrong way. You're going to spend money on the wrong things. And that's huge in business. You don't want to be wasting money. You want to make sure if this is the right fit for me, then yes, I'll make this investment. But if it doesn't fit the values of my business, you're going to be uncomfortable and have a more challenging time with that process. So I think for me, when I got more clear and just stopped judging myself for wanting to be this certain way and taking off that whole other people won't like that, and not choosing to run my business because I want to be liked, choosing to run my business because I know that I can help, and I just got to go find these women.
Yes. Actually, right before we hopped on the blab, someone I was talking with said to me that she just read an article that the most dangerous words in the English language are "I adore you." Because it's so intoxicating. You want to be loved. You want to be liked. You want people to think you're, whatever, lovable and cute. And that's not the way you run your business, right? I mean,
absolutely. I mean, that's what was just happening to me. I used to make decisions because it was almost like in my head, I want to be liked. Mm-hmm. Not, men do the thing of it's just business. Women don't do that really well. Mm-hmm. And you've got to realize I'm in business, because this is what pays my bills.
But it's not one or the other, right? It's not like I'm just this cutesy little fuzzy bunny business person, or I'm like a masculine, like it's just business. This is how I want to do business. Yes. This is how I want to do business, right? And honoring that.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about business and entrepreneurial women, and I'm in my office that you help me with, what are some, like maybe 2 or 3 tips that, because so many of us work from home, that entrepreneurial women and men who are working from home can and should do with Feng Shui to increase their success, make them more relaxed, give them a better vibe for their business? What are some simple things that people could do?
So the one tip that everybody always loves is you have to first work on the clutter. If you have clutter, you have to work on cleaning it up. So I always say discard 3 items for 9 days. Why 9? Because 9 is a very auspicious good luck number. So from a Feng Shui perspective, if you did 3 items for 9 days, that's 27 items. That's a lot to do.
Yeah.
So that is probably my one top tip. You've got to clear the clutter and you've got to ask yourself, does it serve me a purpose? Do I have a space for it? And do I need it? So
Oh.
often people are holding on to so many things they don't need. So clutter is the number one tip. The second tip I would tell you is really desk placement. So this is called the command position. And so just as you're sitting there, you've got the solid wall behind you and you have full view of the room. So you can see the door and anybody who's walking in. Ever look at an executive, a top level person, they always are in that position. The reason is that you're calm, you're relaxed, and you know what's going on. If my back is towards the door, this could mean that things are happening without me. This could mean that people are talking about me. This could mean that deals are happening without me. Mm-hmm. My back is towards the door. So the command position is one of the most important positions to get your desk in.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And that's where mine is. And I love it because I have a room over on the other side where things happen. Sometimes my kids come, so I can actually, I was working yesterday and one of my kids was there and I heard her say, "Oh, I don't think my mom would like that." So I opened the door and I said, "Hello." So I definitely had the command position and that worked out very well.
Yeah, I love it.
So I have worked with you, I have hired you, and I've done some of your courses, and I'm doing actually one of them now about wealth consciousness. So, and I have my money jar and my money bagua, and I've been adding coins and dollar bills to it. So if someone wants to work with you, where can they find you and find out about your programs and all of the wonderful things that you help with?
Yes. So my website is www.ChristineBovay, spelled B-O-V as in Victor, E.com.
And if you can type it in the chat box too, if you want to, but you can say it too. That's fine.
So ChristineBovay.com. Mm-hmm. And on there, sign up. I have some free videos that can get you started to go through your home. I also, if you're looking for your office, there's 4 simple steps to set up your office for financial success. You can click on that and download the 20-minute audio that I have that goes into much more detail and also talks about Heather's gorgeous wall behind her. Well, not specifically Heather's, but why you would want to put a darker, paint the wall behind you. Mm-hmm. And you can work with me virtually. I am based out of Stamford, Connecticut. So if you're in the Connecticut, New York area, you can work with me in person. But I offer it virtually where you can, like Heather did. She sent me floor plans and pictures of her home. So I offer different private coaching. And then I have the 27-day Wealth Accumulator Challenge. And then next month, we'll be doing the 30-day Wardrobe Challenge, where you go in and you will clean out your wardrobe. So I know so many women, when you're trying to transition or change your brand, just as we were talking about, you want to change your wardrobe because you're a walking store, you're a walking billboard about your business. So you definitely want to change your wardrobe.
Absolutely. So I just put the URL in the chat, and I was going to say one other thing about that I don't remember what it was, but it was something about the wardrobe and changing your wardrobe to express yourself. Oh, and especially for women, I know what it was, especially for women who are transitioning out of corporate jobs. I think there's always such a uniform and a social acceptance of what you can wear in corporate. And I think that sometimes when you come out and you start a business, there's so much freedom. You don't always know how to strike that balance between, what you want for your on-brand image and, what's too casual. And so I think that having that is really a great service for that group. And so finally, Christine, I always like to ask people to finish, because I think that gratitude is a huge part of luxury, bliss, happiness, good life, good feeling, good vibe. So what are you most grateful for?
I have the most wonderful parents who just showed me how to love unconditionally. And I'm so blessed that that they're still alive and they're still in good health and, are just so giving and generous and have taught me so much how to really, they let me go on my journey. They let me make my mistakes. They let me, get back up, but they always love me no matter what. They never told me you can't do that, Christine. And I'm very blessed to have two parents that are so loving like that.
Well, you have to have them watch this because I'm sure they'll appreciate that. And that really is what a gift. What a gift. That's wonderful. And I am grateful for you for being here and sharing all of your expertise. And you're so polished and on brand. And I'm always looking for people that are like that to be on the show. And you were just a fabulous guest. So I thank you so much for being here too.
Thank you.
I want to thank Yeah, thank you. And I want to thank you all for joining us as well. If you'd like to know more about how you can be a polished, professional, on-brand speaker like Christine was for this interview, you can also go to clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And my free gift to you is a free webinar on how to polish your speaking chops so you can sell more from the stage. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Christine, for being here as well. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Heather. It was fun to be here.
Okay, thanks. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.